So strange about a church bell ringing.
It rang the same time last night.
Excuse me, Dr. Watson. Can you tell me if Mr. Holmes is armed?
Armed, my dear fellow? Why should he be? He's gone to bed.
You're wrong, Doctor. He went out in the marshes alone. I tried to go with him, but he refused.
But great Scott, if he runs into this monster and he's by himself, he'll get killed. Holmes! Holmes! Are you all right?
Where are you, Watson?
Here I am. Over here, Holmes.
Watson, where are you?
I'm in the bog.
Oh, good gracious. Come here. Your instructions were to mingle with the people and stay in the cafe.
Sergeant Thompson said you were out here alone, so I thought you might need help.
Yes, so you proceeded to fall in the bog, eh?
Fall? I was pushed into the blasted thing. Pushed by the most ghastly apparition. Came at me like a roaring furnace, with spitting fire in all directions. Before I could get my revolver, the thing was upon me. The next thing I knew, I was in the bog.
Are you all right, Mr. Holmes? I heard shots.
Yes, I'm all right, but Dr. Watson here seems to have encountered the monster.
He has?
Come along, old fella. We'd better get you out of these wet clothes and into a hot tub before you catch a death of cold. Yeah, you've had enough of that. Drink this. You'll be as fit as a fiddle in the morning. Well, you had such a bad time.
I got a right to share your dangers.
Thanks, old fellow. You know, I wasn't sure the villagers weren't right. And if it did turn out to be some sort of supernatural monster, well, why should I involve you?
Rubbish.
However, I did learn something. I can now state positively that our antagonist is not a phantom.
But the thing actually spat flames at me.
All just a figment of your imagination. The murderer knew I was out on the marshes, and obviously wanted to frighten me.
You frightened me, all right. How do you manage the flames?
Merely clothing, treated with phosphorus. When the murderer fled, his shirt caught on a tree, and this piece of cloth was torn off. Come in. I'd like a few words with you, Mr. Holmes. I'll come directly to the point. Hello. What happened to your assistant?
I'm not his assistant. If you must know, I was pushed into a boggy hole on the marsh.
Pushed? By whom?
I don't know. Spat fire at me.
My good sir, in spite of Mr. Holmes's theories to the contrary, things have been seen and heard on those marshes that cannot be explained away by the use of logic. If I were you, I'd keep away from them.
I'm not so sure. Holmes found...
Penrose, for the first time in my long pursuit of crime, I confess that I find myself baffled. I'm a detective. I need tangible clues. And up to now, I admit, I found none. And you won't. I advise you to leave La Mort Rouge. Tonight, you escaped with your life. Next time, you may not be so fortunate. Thank you for your considerate advice, Lord Penrose. Good night, sir. Excuse me. Oh, good night.
I don't like that fellow, Holmes. Why do you think he came here?
He wanted to find out if we discovered anything. He seemed very pleased when I told him we hadn't. Now, Watson, there are one or two questions I want to ask Sergeant Thompson. You stay here. I have a vitally important job for you.
Anything, Holmes? What do you want me to do?
Go to bed. Yes, it's cotton fabric. Yeah, take a look.
That discoloration. The purple ink must have been spilt on it.
Possibly. I should say this cloth was red with blue lines. Probably large checks. Yes, it seems to have been laundered a good many times. The blue lines are almost completely erased.
Yes, you can scarcely see them.
Good fabric, well woven, with a solid base.
Hello, Bill.
Hello, Sergeant. Your phone call must have been important. You bring me over this time of the night.
It was. This is Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He wants to ask you a few questions. This is Mr. Taylor, the storekeeper, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Taylor.
Good evening, sir.
Have you any shirts of this design? The squares are red and the lines blue.
Yes, I have.
Can you remember to whom you sold them?
I can. I keep them in stock specially for Judge Brisson. He won't have anything else.
Judge Brisson, who's he?
A retired magistrate. He's a cripple, lives alone with his housekeeper.
Have you sold any of these shirts to anyone else?
No, sir. They're too expensive for the village and the boatmen. This is the finest material, imported.
You say Judge Brisson's a cripple?
Yes, he was a magistrate in Quebec. Had a stroke about 2 years ago. That's why he retired and came here to live in Le Mort Rouge.
Just about the time that Monsieur Journey arrived here.
Now that you mention it, it was just about then.
Hello, operator? Give me Judge Brisson's home, will you? Thank you.
Nora. Let it ring. Haven't I told you not to answer the phone at night?
Yes, sir.
Well, then obey my orders.
Yes, sir.
No answer. Where'd you live?
On the Marsh Road. But I don't advise you to go there after dark, Mr. Holmes. The place is a fortress and guarded by a savage dog.
I think Dr. Watson and I will have to pay Judge Brisson a visit in the morning. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, Mr. Holmes.
Two locks on the door. One of them new. Yes, I should say that Lady Penrose's death had increased Judge Brisson's terror.
Don't like the sound of that dog.
No, sounds hungry. Possibly ravenous.
Couldn't we come back after he's had his breakfast?
I'm sorry, Watson. Our business won't wait.
Oh, stop now.
Yes, Watson. Good Friday. Good Friday. Good Monty. Good Winnie.
Who is it?
Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. I telephoned Judge Brisson we were coming.
You can't come in. He's given orders no one is to be admitted.
You wouldn't want Judge Brisson's death on your hands, would you?
No, sir.
Then you'd better let us in.
I'll probably lose my job for this.
Not after we've talked to Judge Brisson.
My good woman, you keep an eye on that dog.
Oh, don't worry, Watson. You know as well as I do. The dog won't touch you if you're with its master or mistress.
Well, you know it and I know it. We're quite sure the dog knows it. Good dog. Happy dog. Nice, Winnie. Good Winnie.
Let me warn you, I'm armed, and I'm an expert shot.
We didn't come here to harm you, Judge Brisson, but to protect your life.
I told you over the phone this morning, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, that I did not want to see you. I don't want to see anyone.
But I want to see you.
Stay where you are. Nora, show these men out.
Judge Brisson, if you'll answer a few questions, I may be able to save your life.
I have the fullest confidence in my own defenses, and I will not trade them for any theories of Mr. Sherlock Holmes, however plausible you make them sound. Now get out, will you?
I'm sorry. Under the circumstances, I'm helpless to prevent your death. Almost certainly by violence. Come along, Watson. Pardon me. May I trouble you with that envelope? I must have dropped it. Thank you.
You're a very clever man, Mr. Holmes.
A crude device, Judge Brisson. But it's confirmed my suspicions that you're not the cripple you pretend to be.
I'm sorry. But I'm frightened of everything and everybody. Why don't you sit down?
You want to get shot, Holmes?
Come in, Watson, and close the door. Sit down, old fellow. Judge Brisson has decided not to shoot us.
Oh, very kind of him.
Gentlemen, this fear's driving me mad.
It's quite understandable. The whole village seems to be consumed with fear. But in your case, judging from your vicious dog, those barred windows, and that hunting rifle, it's not fear of the supernatural. Just what are you afraid of?
Well, truthfully, Mr. Holmes, I don't know. And yet I feel its very presence. At times, I feel I can almost reach out and touch it. When I first came to La Mort Rouge, I had a slight attack. It affected my legs, but, well, I've recovered.
And you've continued the deception, using the wheelchair as an excuse for not going about the village.
Well, you see, people would be more inclined to accept my hermit-like existence.
Yes, naturally. Tell me, Judge Brisson, had you ever heard of Monsieur Journet before you arrived at La Mort Rouge?
No, I hadn't.
How many of these shirts has your housekeeper purchased for you?
Oh, 4 or 5, I'm not positive.
You still have them?
Well, 1 or 2 became badly worn, and I told my housekeeper to give them to a man who was doing some work for me at that time.
Can you describe him?
No, I'm afraid I can't. That was about a year ago, you see, and, well, I didn't pay much attention to him. He worked in the garden.
Could your housekeeper remember him?
No, that was a different housekeeper then. She went to the United States.
Try to remember, Judge Brisson. Your life may depend on it.
I do remember one thing. He had a very slight limp. I used to watch him from that window as he walked across the lawn.
Splendid. Continue your vigilance, Judge, and under no circumstances allow anyone to enter the house, even someone you may know well.
What's that mean, Holmes?
It may mean nothing, Watson, and it may mean everything. I'm quite sure that Sergeant Thompson will have observed a man with a limp in a village the size of La Mort Rouge. Good day, Judge, and thank you.
Good day, sir.
I'm sure Sergeant Thompson will have observed a man with a limp in a village the size of La Mort Rouge.
This is what's left of the Delaport Hotel, Mr. Holmes. Dana sleeps here when he's in La Mort Rouge.
Spooky old place.
The villagers call it the ghost house. It's been deserted for years.
He walks with a limp. A left foot, I think. To the trained ear, Sergeant, footsteps have a characteristic rhythm as identifiable as fingerprints.
What do you want?
We've come to have a talk with you, Tanner.
I've done nothing.
Then you won't mind answering a few questions.
What do you want to know?
Tell me, Tanner, where were you 2 nights ago?
Down the river?
And last night?
I just got back tonight.
You're lying.
You can't frighten me. But now I got a job to do.
It's quite evident that you haven't been on the river within the last 48 hours.
Are you trying to make me out the murderer of Lady Penrose?
How do you know she was murdered? I'll tell you how you know she was murdered. Because you murdered her.
Holmes, look! In there! The monster!
That's right, Watson. One of Brisson's shirts, which Tanner here treated with phosphorus. Take him, Sergeant. I'll give you all the evidence later. Look out!